now when we are done with this kind of database assignment, okay, so I'm purposefully calling it as database assignment. Why? Because like we are trying to work with some kind of data given in some form. Now, do you know or do you recall that there was a term called schema? Not the schema that we saw in Postgres, but the general schema, database schema. When you say relation X is given, schema of X contains, say, first column, first argument, comma, second argument, comma, third argument, and so on. So it is like you explicitly know this is first value, this is second value. Like while we talk about insert statement, you never worry about order of the columns. But if you want to specifically exclude few columns while inserting, then what you do? You write all column names as an attribute names rather before values. Correct. So that's how this we are defining some kind of schema over here, and we want to display or we want to process these strings. Is that okay? So let me save this code. Let me come out. Now I'm introducing you a concept of macro. Okay, so look, if you recall, we talked about a procedure. Okay, we used functions which are written in or added in a standard library. We gave call to those functions. We haven't written yet the functions. Fine, but suppose if at all we have to say, for example, write our own function, then what is to be done? So as it requires some kind of paper demonstration to you, so what I will do is I will try to take that session through a recorded one so that you can understand how that stack works. Fine. So till that time, I will talk about macro. Now macro is somewhat similar. Like whenever I do talk about function call, what happens is, like suppose let me take spreadsheet. Now suppose my code contains these are my lines, and then I am having here call P, for example. Is the screen visible? Yes. Yeah. Now suppose I want to give call to this P, and this P is defined somewhere here. Okay. Now this P code starts execute. P code starts here. It executes it, and then this is return address. So it should go back to this. Right. So when it is here, so what happens is let me use insert. Shape. So it should go here. Okay, when done, it should come back here. Fine. So what happens is when you execute the code, your code start executing from first line, it reaches to call, then it transfers the control. So if I say there is a IP instruction pointer, this instruction pointer is the current address. So when it executes each line here, like if you see in a debugger, let me show you in a debugger mode. gdb./a.out. So when I write breakpoint main and run, so you may see every time. So it is showing me this 16. So if I try to display $EIP, which is instruction pointer program counter. So this is the current address which is executing, which it is executing here. Fine. So if I continue, say let us add a breakpoint to the last B52. No. B51. Yes. Okay. Now if I say continue, so it displayed me this and it came out because it is talking about this return. So if I write 50, for example, here. Now see the code, where exactly it is pointing. It was in main, now it is in end of program. It is still in this file. Correct. So if I say continue again, next loop would be there. So if I say ni, you suddenly see that whatever the address that was there with my code, main code, it changed. It is now in libc start main. So my instruction pointer suddenly took back me to libc start main where my main function was called. Correct. So what exactly it did? Suppose this is your libc main, libc start main. It gives call to main function and your code executes. When your code reaches to the last line, it returns back to the original address. Okay, and that's what happened over here. It came to the original code where main was given a call. Correct. So here headache is what? You have to preserve this address where the return address is. Suppose you lose this return address. If you lose this return address, suppose we are going for a trip, okay, and we said that we will assemble at one point and we started moving around and then suddenly we saw that we lost somewhere. So that would be like I'm not able to find out where exactly I should go. So it is called a dangling reference. So I'm not sure which address I should jump currently now. So if I lose that address, then my execution will go away. And it is a heavy load on a stack as well, because you are giving call to a function, every register gets changed. And that is the reason why, if you recall, I wrote push A and pop A, right? Because I want to preserve the original values while the code gets executed here. And after execution, I want to get back the all values. That's why I wrote pop A. Correct? Because when it reaches to second thing, this is kind of context switch. It was executing here. Then suddenly there was a context switch. Now it started executing this code. And when the code was done, code got executed, it returns back to your original thing. So again, context switch. So when you talk about this context switch, there is heavy load on memory operations. And how can we minimize them then? Fine. And even like if you see over here, the control is passed from this code to this code. Okay. And then when done, control is passed from this code back to this code. So this heavy usage of memory operations is carried out internally by the loader. Now, another aspect is like if I give a call, can I get these lines added directly here? Correct. And that's where the macro subroutine comes into picture. So let us see how it works. So let me write say p.c for a while. Let me say define max 10 min integer I equal to max. Fine. Now if I see, if I write, okay, let us write that g gdb./a.out. Okay, if I print I, okay, breakpoint main run. Now it is pointing to my 9. Next line step I equal to max. So let us write display I and I. Now I got 10 here. Why I got 10 here? Because I do see that max is given 10. But currently I can see that I is equal to max still over here. But while I debug, I can see that I equal to max is shown. But what really happens there? This is shown at runtime. But if I try to see this rather. Now see, this is pre-processing. Now, what was the statement? We wrote hash define max 10, correct? And in the code, we wrote I equal to max. But what happened there? You must have heard about pre-processing, na? Yes? Have you heard about pre-processing?
Yes, sir.
What happens with pre-processing? All macro definitions are executed. Correct? So if a macro is given a call, then macro value is replaced there directly. This is pre-processing. So though it is showing us at runtime that code is I equal to max, but value was given to I was 10. This is only to show you, because it is not going to change the code, your source code, because whatever in debugging, whatever it shows here, it shows you the source code. And at runtime, it only shows you the values. Though this value was affected before the link, before the execution started, because pre-processing was done prior and value of I was given as 10. So if I remove this, and let me write obj dump dash d a dot out pipe place. So let us see main. Yeah. Now you may recall, like we said, na, like libc start main, and it gives call to main. So this is that main thing. Fine. And this libc start main was called here. See the start plus cc 36, and this is your libc start main. Fine. Okay, so we wanted to see main. Yeah. Now this is your first variable. I equal to 10. This is I equal to 10. Because it was your local variable. Correct? I was your local variable. And that was containing value 10. So this is assignment. So see, at that before you started execution, it automatically added that value 10 there. It was done before you started execution, but it will not show you that part, because through debugger you can see the values. Okay, but it also shows the code. If you are watching the code for tracing purpose, then it will show you original code. It will not show you the exact execution. So execution can be seen only through the values. So this 10 was added there. This was the statement, correct? I equal to max. And as it was a local variable, that's why this EBP is. We'll be talking probably in next week about how these local variables are used. And we will try to write our own functions. Right? Okay, so now let us try to see how can we write the macros in assembly. So percent macro, you give name, same, it is my add, you give count here. How many parameters do you want to have? Okay, now you want to access first parameter, so you say move ex comma $1, move ebx comma $2. Okay, let us try to see what happens, and then we will work out. And then I am saying add ex comma ebx. Fine, and then I will write percent in macro. Fine, now my code section dot text global main. Now here I am saying my add 10, 20. Now what should happen? What should happen? Can somebody tell me? Please. The way that I showed you output of the thing, what it should show you? What should be the output? Yes, please.
Addition.
Addition. How it should display that? How it should display that? So like yeah. So let me try to understand from you people, like how that addition would be done. How the addition would be done? It should display or load what? So sorry, I should have written percent. Okay, now let us see what happens. So let me write NASM dash app ELF 32 21 11 20 underscore ASM, and I am writing dash E. Now see the code. Your macro definition was like macro call was replaced by the definition. Can you see that? Our code was what? Less. This was our code, correct? So let me add it here so you can see the thing. So if I write Q, okay, this was the output, and I am saying now less. Now see this code and you try to compare this. See, it started with section.text. We have section.text here, correct? Section.text. Then global main my at 1020. Now this my at 1020 was replaced completely by this definition. And you may see here it added these lines, 3 lines. Are you with me? Can you see this difference? What happens with function? With function, control gets passed to that function definition. With macro call is replaced by its definition by appropriate replacement of parameters. So what is the syntax of writing macro? Definition, percent macro name, number of parameters that you have. To access parameters, you write percent 1, percent 2, percent 3, and so on. Fine. And when your definition is end, you are writing percent end macro. And then to give a call, you have to write macro name, comma, sorry, macro name space your parameters. What are the parameters that you want to display? Fine. Now suppose we will write a code here. So Emacs 2111 2020 02.asm percent macro factorial. Sorry, we want parameter to be 1. Fine. So let us say move ECX comma percent 1, then move EX comma 1 because we want to calculate factorial mul ECX decrement, or we'll write loop LT. Fine. And now with this is macro definition that you have, end macro. Now let us go to your source code, section.text global main. We'll take section.data as well because we want to display factorial. Section.data, say MSG DB factorial is percent D 10 comma 0. Global main extern printf. Okay, now your main, we are saying factorial 5 push EAX because EAX is containing value. Okay, then push mhg call printf add esp comma 8. Can you see the code? Is it correct code? Hopefully it is correct. Fine. So maybe you can add XOR edx comma edx to make our life easy. And so we want to display factorial of 5. What is factorial of 5?
120.
Okay, good. So let us try to assemble the code. So we have now 2. So if I write this dash e, see what happened. My code is replaced. My macro call was replaced. Move ECX comma 5 because we wrote %1, correct? So if I see the code here, see this code here. What is that? Move ECX comma %1. So factorial 5. So it replaces factorial 5 here, correct? So it is showing us %1 means our first parameter. So it is move ECX comma 5. The next statement was move EX comma 1. Then LP XOR EDX EDX mul ECX loop LP. Now EX is changed, correct? And we want to display this. So this is pre-processing done. So let us remove this dash G dash fdwarf GCC dash M32 2111 underscore 02. So you got factorial. Understood? Correct. Now let me confuse you. So let us copy this. I want to display factorial of 42. Say for example 6. Okay. Now let us see what happens. Can you see the error now? Why the error was? Now you will not understand it by seeing this code. What happened was this first factorial call was replaced by this definition, correct? This second factorial call was again replaced by this definition. Now how many times LP is occurring? How many times that LP is occurring? See here. How many times LP occurring? LP occurred here once, first call. LP occurring here second time. Pre-processing never gave us the error. Had the pre-processing gave the error, it is like government office. Whatever is given, it finds and replaces it. Done. It never worries about whether it is correct or wrong. Correct. What happened was first macro call was replaced by this. It added the whole definition. Second macro call was replaced by this. But it suddenly saw here we have LP, here we have LP, and this LP repeated twice. Correct. LP got repeated twice. So that's why these labels got affected. Now how to remove this error? So to remove that error, let us try this. Let us see, can we get out of this error? Now can you see some change in the labels? Can we see some change in the labels? See how LP is written. It is having some prefix with it. @4. So this is first label. Second label was @5. So now we differentiated both the labels. Now if I try to assemble this, I will not get error. So what happened was when a macro is containing a label, listen carefully what I said. When a macro contains a label and if macro is given call more than once, then the label definition should change. Now what NASM does, NASM provides you a facility to replace macro label names whenever it is called more than once. To do so, it suggests us that you should prefix % sign before the label. Okay, and then it will automatically take care of this label options. Fine. By adding this, you may see here it added appropriately 4, appropriately 5 here. Correct. And if I now execute this code, GCC and a.out, I can see both the values got displayed. Is that okay? Any question with macro? Yes. Are you there? Yes. Any question? No. So I will add a few programs containing macros in a day or two so that you can refer them, and I will give you a list of programs to be written by you so that you can submit them. Fine. Try to write the programs on your own. Fine. So let me add that code for your reference. This was first simple macro definition. Then we talked about a factorial code. So I suggest you to write maybe computing GCD, computing average, and so on kind of codes. Fine. So I added both the codes for your reference. Fine. I will add a program related to matrix addition. Okay. In the Moodle course site, not using macro, but generally simply how the macro matrix operations can be carried out for that purpose so that we can compute the addresses. Secondly, I will try to add a few programs related to this macro usage, and I will add maybe some presentation offline recorded, so where we will try to understand how stack works, right, for giving calls to a function. And I also will introduce you this runtime arguments of the code. Have you ever used this kind of code? Say I'm writing there in comment box. Have you written a code containing this main kind of thing? Main int argc char argv. Have you written this kind of code containing arguments in C language, where the number of arguments would be given at runtime? So I will try to add, or I will try to cover that part also in Monday's session. Okay. So if any questions are there, you can post me. My suggestion would be, if you haven't tried using this argc argv in C language, try writing some programs. You can take help of any C book, or like I know that most of you use few sites specifically. One of them I mentioned in WhatsApp group, where some of the students referred it to copy paste the answers. Okay, Stack Overflow is also there. You can see that for your reference purpose to understand how this operations work. Int argc char argv. Fine. Okay. So I'm stopping this. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. If there are no questions, we'll finish the meeting. Any question? I will introduce you how to make use of this argc argv in assembly. Okay. Also, I will add code related. I will explain you in next class how to make use of different functions. We'll create static library as well here. Okay. How to create our own static library. I expect you to write macros probably for string operations. So maybe char string length, macro name is string length. You are passing a string address there and it computes length and returns it. String length, substring finding, and so on. So if you see, today we talked about substring, correct, in one of the code. Fine. So you may take help of that code rather to work with. Fine. No questions? No questions? Okay. If you have any questions which you don't want to ask around, so you can put it on WhatsApp or you can send me personal message. I will reply.